Welcome everybody to Twisted News. For this week, we have two very mysterious news stories for you, but very different in their own ways. Up first, we're checking out a mythical creature caught on camera, and the image is so convincing that even the president of Mexico is tweeting it out. After that, we're checking out the story of a woman who disappeared decades ago, who's recently been found alive and well. Get ready for Scary Mysteries, Twisted News. Number 1. Mythological creature caught on camera. On this channel, we often dive into strange occurrences and just how mysterious the Earth is to us. No matter how hard we try, it seems we'll never fully comprehend or understand everything that's out there. Despite all the discoveries that have happened over the centuries, and all the geniuses that have taught us over the generations, there's always going to be parts of the Earth and beyond yet to be discovered, phenomena yet to be explained, and creatures that live among us. On February 26, Mexico's President Andrés Manuel López Obrador posted a mysterious photo of what he claimed to be an Aluxe. In Mayan culture, an Aluxe is a mythological woodland spirit that is almost elf-like and known to be mischievous. On the president's Twitter account, he posted two images. One was of a freaky creature high up in a tree taken at night, its eyes staring straight at the camera. And the second photo showed sculptures from the Mayans that depicted their version of the mythical Aluxe. According to the caption, the first image was taken on the 23rd by an engineer who was working on the Mayan train project, and the other one was of a prehistoric Aluxe structure located at Ekbalam, which is an archaeological site in Yucatan, Mexico. The president also added his 2 cents and wrote, "Everything is mystical." The post, although not entirely stating the existence of the Aluxe, was sort of alluding to the possibility of its existence. And currently, the post has garnered 10 million views, 45,000 likes, and more than 13,000 retweets. And for those who know him, Mr. López Obrador has always been an avid admirer of the Mayan beliefs and culture. The Mayan train project was actually supported by the president. It would span almost 1,000 miles in order to connect different states, places like Campeche, Chiapas, Quintana Roo, Tabasco, and Yucatan. The photo had what looked like an unknown creature with a pair of white eyes and white hair that almost looked like a halo against the grainy dark image. People, of course, dug in to try to learn more about this particular image by checking the metadata, which, somewhat surprisingly, was not available. If it were, then it could be possible to see when the photo was taken and what camera was used to capture it. Because of this, though, now speculations regarding the authenticity of the image have been circulating. Several media outlets have reported that the image looked almost the same as the 2021 picture of a suspected witch, which was circulated on social media. That photo was snapped by Juan Pacheco in northern Mexico's Nuevo León. As for the image of the sculpture, the general director of the National Institute of Anthropology and History in Mexico, Diego Prieto Hernandez, said during a news conference that the sculpture shows a captive being held by the hair by a woman. However, he didn't say anything about the Aluxe or the other creepy picture. Locals believe that Aluxes are playful and resemble what would look like a child when seen by the naked eye. They're believed to play tricks on people, and to appease them, natives often leave small offerings to them. Learning more about indigenous cultures is always fascinating, and in today's world we can share ideas instantly about the world as well as creatures like the Aluxe. We get to see how our ancestors viewed these different phenomena, as well as how they sort of dealt with them. It's also interesting to note that phenomena like this one remain just as mysterious as it was back then. And despite all the developments in science and technology, we still can't explain why people believe and don't believe in these strange things. Number 2. Copta alive and well. Cases of missing people are often hard to discuss because there's always the possibility of opening up a well of wounds that never healed, a heap of questions that still remain unanswered, as well as the undying cinders of hope. With death, there is closure, and the people left behind can at least end their search. But with someone who remains absent, there's always that possibility that they may come back. They may be found again. And this is what this interesting case is all about. A little more than 3 decades ago, back in 1992, a 53-year-old woman from Pittsburgh went missing. And just like that, no one knew where she went or what happened to her, and even investigators then were stumped with what could have happened to her. Before her disappearance, Patricia Copta was married to Bob Copta, and she was working in the finance department of a Pittsburgh glass company for more than a decade. But she quit after a series of migraines she blamed on the stress that the job gave her, and after that, she worked at the Art Institute of Pittsburgh in a simpler role as an elevator operator. During the time she was working at that art institute, her family noticed a change in her behavior. Her surviving sister, Gloria Smith, who's now 78 years old, shared that Patricia told them she saw an angel in the institute. She also started preaching to and warning people on the streets about the end of the world. And people around town knew her for her strange ways. As any good family would do, Patricia's tried to get her help, and that's when she was diagnosed with delusions of grandeur as well as signs of schizophrenia. She was briefly institutionalized, but after she was released, continued to preach on the streets of Pittsburgh. And then in 1992, as Bob described it, he came home one day and his wife of 20 years was not there. Then he and her relatives never saw her again. Simple as that. They filed missing persons reports and put up posters in places she said she wanted to visit, hoping to track her down, but no news or leads were ever received. About 7 years after her disappearance, Bob then got a death declaration for his wife. Somehow it seemed like they obtained the closure they needed to move on. Now fast forward to the end of 2022. A social worker in a nursing home in Puerto Rico contacted authorities to alert them about an elderly woman who had been in their care for the past 23 years. Apparently, since 1999, this woman kept mum about her real identity and past, and only started to talk about her true self when the effects of dementia began to take hold. After conducting DNA testing, they finally confirmed her identity as Patricia Copta, now 83. According to the nursing home, before she was brought there, she was wandering through northern Puerto Rico for quite some time, jumping from one town to another. They didn't know she left behind her husband and siblings in the U.S., but they did know that she came to Puerto Rico via a cruise ship from Europe. Apparently, as shared by Patricia's family during the investigation before and during recent interviews, Patricia frequently visited the island with her friends when they were younger. Bob and her sister Gloria, through separate phone call interviews conducted by the Associated Press, both shared their relief in learning about her current situation. However, Bob, who's now 86 years old, said that he doesn't plan on visiting her. He added that he only wants to move on with his life, especially because of the difficulties he experienced over the decades. Aside from the constant longing, he shared that he also had to live with the fact that he was suspected of his wife's disappearance. Also worth noting, Bob never remarried. Gloria, on the other hand, said she planned to visit her and also divulged that she hasn't spoken to Patricia on the phone yet due to her sister's dementia. This case does have its happy ending, but sadly, the pain and lost time can never be replaced, particularly with how Patricia's family suffered during her disappearance. Hopefully, Bob can finally live in peace, and Patricia will be reunited with her surviving sister as soon as possible. So there you go, guys. 2 of the most interesting stories that we have for you guys this week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Remember, if you want some more stuff from us that's exclusive, go check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/scarymysteries. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you soon.